Shalom, 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 beloved family and Gentiles. I wanted to bring a short video today just to cover a little information regarding the trees of life, to just review a little bit the one that we went over and to show you our tree of life. So we're going to be going in a whole different level of information, and we'll see how it goes because I don't claim to know everything about this at all. It is so much information. I mean, an extreme amount of information. So I've only been able to study certain portions of it, but I'm going to try to bring to you what I have clarity about. And if someone else has clarity, please feel free to join in, leave your comments. Okay. Thanks, guys. Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, fair use is invoked for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute when an otherwise infringement may occur. Usages for nonprofit educational purposes tips the balance in favor of fair use. Family, the first book I want to look at is a short history of the Cathars, because based on what I've learned, they're the reason for the information that I'm going to go into today regarding the spirit body of the tree of life. We've gone through the material body of the tree of life. Now we're going to do the spirit body of the tree of life. I'm reading from page 177. And I'm going to start up here at the not top of the page, but we're at the book of the two principles. It sustained polemic against the moderate school, whom the author regards as almost no better than Catholics, who also come in for attack during the course of the argument. The work makes a case for there being two co-eternal principles of good and evil, each of which created their own spheres, heaven and the material world respectively. Based on my research, the Cathars is spelled with the K, but because of all the Anglicizing everything, it was changed to a C. But based on my research, um, before 1209, the Cathars openly pursued their faith openly and quietly. But then they became secretive because they were being hunted down by the Catholic Church. And no one should be surprised about that because anytime, the Catholic Church is involved, there's always some type of illegality going on, mass murders, inquisitions, because they're behind all of the inquisitions. So because they couldn't control the Cathars, they decided to kill them. I mean, there's nothing new there. We should not be surprised at all. Based on the Book of Two Principles, the Cathars believe that the tree um, of life, the two trees in the garden, had strong representation for them. So they said it was the one tree, the tree of life, was a source for man to live by, and the other tree, the tree of knowledge, was actually the tree of death. For the Cathars, the tree of life is really the tree of light and truth, while the tree of knowledge is a tree of death, because once you eat from the tree of death, the knowledge gained can be used for good or evil. And of course, you can see why the Catholic Church and the Council of Nicaea would have a problem with this because it convicted them. The Cathars believed that if you were following um, the way of Christ, then you shouldn't have a lot of stuff. And we all know the Catholic Church likes their stuff. They mass murdered millions of people for their stuff. So, of course, with the Cathars going around preaching this, you know, they couldn't have it. The Cathars had to go because they taught against everything that the Catholic Church believed in. And they believed heavily in ascension. See, they were the ones that actually taught ascension because they didn't so much believe in the Bible and everything in the Bible because they knew that it was tainted by the Council of Nicaea and the Catholic Church, but they believed not even the first books, the Old Testament, they weren't really heavy into that either. They had, their interests, but they knew that the books were tainted by the Council of Nicaea and the Catholic Church. But they believed in the vision of Isaiah. They knew that that was true. They called it actually the ascension of Isaiah, and that's what it is because Isaiah went to the seven heavens. So he knew about ascension and he knew what was going to happen. So they didn't want to hear anything about that. And then they also believed in the secret supper of John. So we're going to continue reading on page 177. It says, the word makes a case for there being two co-eternal principles of good and evil, each of which created their own spheres, heaven and the material world, respectively. The true God cannot be the author of evil. And the verse in the Gospel of John, which states all things were made by it, the word of God, and without it was made nothing, was interpreted as meaning that nothing, the material world, was made by Satan. And that's how they believe. And that's what that's what they taught, was that the material world was based on Satan and that everything else was in the cosmos was divine and spiritual. And of course, that didn't go over well with the Catholic Church. It says the true world was the domain of the real creator God, which was not a world of matter, but a higher world that obeyed its own laws. All extant is a very late tract. Also extant is a very late tract, possibly from the third quarter of the 14th century, called the Vindication of the Church of God. It presents the Cathars as a persecuted and martyred church suffering before the appearance of the Antichrist and the Last Judgment. It states that this Church of God has received such power from our Lord, their Lord, that guy, I don't mess with that name, but from our Hamashiach, that sins are pardoned. Well, this is their guy, power from their Jesus Christ, that sins are pardoned by its prayer, that this church refrains from adultery, that this church refrains from theft, concluding that this church keeps and observes all commandments of the law of life, in sharp contrast to the wicked Roman church. So, based on our Hamashiach, this is what we were expected to do, to refrain from theft, refrain from adultery, which is having another God, putting something else before the mighty one, and to keep and observe all the commandments of the law of life. Um, because the Cathars, what they did was they believed when there was a conflict among themselves, they settled it amongst themselves. There was no um, hard controversies that they couldn't settle among themselves. So what they expected of themselves based on the mighty one and their ascension was to work things out, and that all things would be divine and spiritual. And that was everything against the Catholic Church. So we're going to go into that, the spirits. We're going to look at the difference between the materialistic tree of life and the spiritual tree of life. Now, the Kabbalah tree of life is a material tree of life upon the earth. This is what it is. Once we realize that everything on the earth has been perverted, and then we have to deal with the polarities, because in everything there's polarity. One of the principles of polarity, the Hermetic, one of the seven Hermetic principles, the principle of polarity, everything is dual. Everything has poles. Everything has its pair of opposites. Like and unlike are the same. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. So we have to remember that what they've been showing us, everything that we've received from them is a lie. Although it's our information, it's been perverted in some way to lead us from the mighty one. Now on the screen, you can see the tree of life for the Kabbalah and then the Kathara 12 tree grid. The one that is the Kabbalah tree, if you notice the numbers, they descend, and the numbers on the Kathara tree, they ascend. We're not trying to descend. We've descended as low as we can go. So now we're trying to ascend, and that's what the Catharas were trying to do. They were trying to teach how to ascend in the same way that the Hamashiach did, and the Catholic Church ended that. And they massacred those people. They did. And of course, we know, and if they were teaching ascension, it was us. We already know that. They looked like us. Initially, when I saw this tree, the Cathara 12 tree grid, I knew it was us. And then I remembered Tesla with the 369. All of that is built into there's a lot of information here with this grid, this 12 tree Cathar grid, because these grids, based on the way that these centers are, they're called centers, or spears. The way they're set up, it's the grid, it's the pattern set up around the earth. Okay, it is the grid, the gravitational grid, electromagnetic grid around the earth. And that's how this is set up. On the grid with the Kabbalah tree of life, the Kabbalah, there is no continuation in that. It is based on the Fibonacci, where the vampires eat up everything. Then with the Cathara tree grid is based on the crystal spiral. I mean, it's beautiful because you're going to learn the reason that they've been killing our people. On the next screen here, this is actually the 12 centers of the Cathara. And it tells you what the centers are. Look at these centers. This is us. Look at the centers. The first one is the earth. It's the earth core at the center of the earth in chakra, what they call chakra 13. But it's a spear. But their chakras also, the chakras and the spears are not the same thing. We've been given such a handful of information, and they've lied about so many things, and our people still, want to count on the information that they receive from them. I don't trust anything that those people, those base men, have given us. Nothing. But I'm going with this because this is the reason that I realize now, that when I was awakened, the Mighty One did not give me scripts. He didn't give me the scriptures. I went straight to the Zohar or the Zorah. And this is all connected to the Zohar body, the Zorah body. All of this is connected. And this body here that you're looking at now, the earth core is at sphere 1. At the center 2 is Naum Young, which is the prostate gland for male or vagina for the female. And 3 and 4 is the ovaries and the urethers, okay? Ureters. The doll, the dial. And then at 5 is the seat of the mentee at the navel in the central body current, the seat of a mentee, the soul. You know, this is where the portals or the halls of a mentee. This ties right into what Big Judah was talking about. This is the seat, ties into the halls of a mentee, the halls of records. That's what a mentee is. It's a place under the pyramid of Giza where taught or thought left all of his records, all of the knowledge. And it kind of, you know what it really reminded me of, seeing Doctor Strange, you know, when he was in his astral body and he would go to the library and he would pick a book. It kind of reminded me of that. But you have to get clearance to go there. You don't just go there. This is a whole new step that's based on where you are in this training. So you don't just go into the astral projection and you just go and you do these things. It doesn't work that way. And then 6 and 7, your shoulders, the indents through the back, your wings. These are your wings. This is the reason that these people have been taking our melanin, our organs, everything, because of this knowledge. They had this knowledge and we didn't. They've not been shooting down that other body that they say that matches everything else on the earth. Nay, nay, nay. This is the body that they've been shooting down. At center 8 is the spark of Orion, or Orion as people call it, in the thyroid gland at the 8th chakra. This is your 8th chakra, so-called chakra or spear. So the spark of Orion ties into that. We're going to go into this because this body is a divine body. This is the body with the 12 centers that connect to the constellations, the 12 constellations. This has nothing to do with anything material. This is all spiritual. So we're going to go there. I'm just going to go through what everything is. And then now at the Cathar Center 9 and 10, you have behind, in the brain, behind the ears, you have the star. You have a star that connects there. And then your 11th center is the crown jewel in the pineal gland at the center of the brain. This is a crown jewel. I'm telling you, this is the reason that all of these people, these Psalms 83 nations, have been cutting up our bodies, have been stealing the body parts, have been shooting our people down, have been Tuskegee experiments, the Philadelphia experiments. This is the body. This is the body because they want to understand, excuse me, they want to understand this body. Henrietta Lacks. All right, sorry, family. I had to take a break and get a drink because all of a sudden the voice was going out. Okay, so the crown jewel. They know that there's a crystal there. This is not some figment of imagination where, you know, all of a sudden a crystal is going to pop up there. No, they know that we have a crystal there in the pineal gland. They know that. This is a reason for the attack on our body. The fluoride in the water and the toothpaste, all of this medicine that they want us to take, all of these things. This is the reason before all of these attacks on our bodies. All of this, it has to do with this. And then at the 12 is a capstone. It, look, it attaches at the night, the capstone attaches with the star. This is such huge information for our people because we never knew anything about our body. They have had all the knowledge about our body, telling us we're all the same, all the bodies are the same, prescribing all these medicines. They've been attacking our bodies and we didn't even know it. You go to the doctor and you think that they're trying to help you. No, most of those doctors were not trying to help us. They have been attacking our bodies because we lack the knowledge. We were destroyed because of lack of knowledge. All of the experiments, everything that they've done to us have been for our destruction. But the mighty one made this body in such a way that it's hard to destroy it. And trust me, they've gone through great lengths to destroy this body. So on this next slide, I am giving you guys just a slide because I want you to see exactly what we don't know and what they have known all this time. So there are 15 star crystal seals in our bodies. There are 15 chakras, and then there are harmonic universes in our body. All of this has to do with resonance, frequency, vibrations, all of this. So it's at a whole different level, but I wanted you guys to see it and have an opportunity to kind of study it, print it out and study it. I couldn't find books for this. I happened upon this, the Mighty One, and the Ruach and the Hamashiach, our brother has really been leading me and doing my research so that I can try to get all of this information and bring it to you guys. So all of these colors and what they mean, everything is here. They've only told us about, 7 chakras, but we have morphogenetic chakras, and those morphogenetic chakras we're going to get in later because they have to do with the Merkaba. See, they've been testing us, taking our blood samples, doing all of these things to try to understand this Merkaba and the soul and how everything works because they knew what we didn't know. They knew that our ascension, what happened to us was going to be tied into the Merkaba and our knowledge. All of this has to do with our knowledge and how much we take in. See, ignorance is bliss, okay? It doesn't know anything. And we were, I know I had a lot of knowledge, but I had no knowledge about anything, about nothing about this. So to say that we have been destroyed for lack of knowledge, it's true. That scripture cannot be quoted enough. And this has nothing to do with going through and continuously repeating the scriptures and doing precept upon precept. And no, it has nothing to do with that. The precepts are great. It's great to have them, but when you read um, the vision of Isaiah and him seeing all of the 7 heavens, all of that comes into play. All of that is in this information that we had no knowledge about. I mean, absolutely nothing. And when you look at the information on this slide, about the hover bodies and the signets, the star crystal seals, and how many chakras there really are, where they're located. I mean, deep space. Look where deep space is. The Earth core, all of this. Deep space is above and below. All of this stuff matches. And we have no knowledge of this information. So we must tap into this and get as much knowledge that we can while we can. But I'm going to go through this a little bit more in depth. I'm going to talk more about the slides that we've gone through already, as far as all of the Kathara centers, what they mean, going through the centers regarding, how they attach, how the colors work. All of this is new knowledge for me. I mean, I don't know a lot of this stuff. I know what the Mighty One has given me, the information, and I'm going to give it to you guys to the best of my ability. But all of this information has to do with the colors. It's not just that they're colors, they're hues, because we had different color bodies, and all of this is based where we are and what we do spiritually is different from, it deals with astronomy. Where we are and what we do physically, materially, deals with astrology, which is the reason that they push the astrology and they've not pushed the astronomy to us, because as divine and spiritual beings, we need to know both the astrology and the astronomy. We have to know it all, because even though the astrology doesn't affect us as spiritual beings, it does affect the people that we deal with. Now, this body deals with the spiritual beings and the earthbound beings, because we are their earth seeds and star seeds. And so all of this deals with the bodies. And this is really about the melanated, the carbonated body. This is the reason that the information was kept from us. This is carbon. This is all about us. So just have an opportunity to look at this information, and I'll come back again and bring you some more information regarding these slides that I presented today. At least you'll have the information and you can look at it for yourself to see, what you understand, what you don't understand. If there's something that you want more knowledge about, ask the questions or do your own research. That's all I can say. Do your own research, because the information out there is massive. And they put us in that Bible to keep us planted in the earthly realm, in a material, in a physical. And we don't need to be in the physical, not the star seeds. We need to focus on the cosmos. We need to focus on the cosmos. We need to focus on the 12 tribes as we're written in the stars. Because really, when you look at this exoterically, we were scattered on the earth. Esoterically, we're scattered in the cosmos. I mean, it all fits and works together for the good of those who love the Mighty One. All praises to the Mighty One, and we'll pick this up later. And Shalom, star seeds, earth seeds, Gentiles.